Hello, this is Young Oka. I will explain the Unity script. I think one thing I really love about the games industry today is often is compared to many industries. To start out in the game industry, you don't need a degree. All you need is a computer and an internet connection. If you log on online right now, you can immediately visit the websites such as Blender, game's, Inkscape, and Unity to get access to professional grade game development software completely free of charge. The result is that almost anybody in any place on any budget from any background and any age can sit at the computer and be a game developer right now. This video focuses on Unity development basically, and when it comes to Unity development, there's one area where developers feel troubled or somewhat lacking in power. That area is in C# scripting. The general feel is that so much of the C# tutors and guides out there today are so abstract and formal that it's difficult to see how all of it should come together and to be applied properly in the real world case to do what you need to do to give your games that professional edges. Scripting is an essential part of Unity as it defines the behavior of your game. This video will introduce the fundamentals of scripting using C#. No prior knowledge of C# or Unity is required. Scripting is how the user defines a game's behavior in Unity. The recommended programming language for Unity is C#. This video will cover the fundamentals of scripting in Unity and also introduce the key elements of the application programming interface. You can think of the API as code that has already been written for you, which lets you concentrate on your game design and also speeds up development time. A good understanding of this basic principle is essential in order to harness the full power of Unity. This video focuses on the scripting element of Unity. It is assumed you are already familiar with Unity's interface in order to make scripting easier to understand. It is preferable to have a code editor that has a syntax highlighting support for C#. This means the reserved words are colored different than user-defined words. One such editor is Visual Studio Community. Before we begin, it is worth mentioning some conventions in Unity. Variables begin with a lowercase letter. Variables are used to store information about any aspect of a game's state. Functions begin with an uppercase letter. Functions are blocks of code which are written once and can then be reused as often as needed. Classes begin with an uppercase letter. This can be thought of as collections of functions. For our first program, we are going to allow the user to move around in a simple game world. I already started Unity. Firstly, let's create a surface for the user to work on. The surface we are going to use is a flattened cube shape. So create a cube and scale is x, y, z dimensions to 5, 0.1, 5 respectively. It should now resemble a large flat plane. Rename this object plane in the hierarchy view. The locate the cursor located in hierarchy view and right click and cube, create a cube. In aspect view, the position x 0, y 0, z 0, and scale 5, and y scale is 0.1, and z scale is 5. And rename the object plane and enter. And create second cube. This object is located at the center of this plane. Position x is 0, y is 0, z is 0. But I think that the cube and plane in the middle, so let's move the cube the y is 0.5, and the rename the object to cube 1. We should also create a point light. So put the create the right click and the light and point light. Place it above the cubes. So that they are more easily visible. And save the scene by selecting file and save as in the scenes folder. Give the game a name. I type the test1 and then click the save. We are now ready to start game programming. We are going to allow the player to move around the game world by controlling the position of the main camera. To do this, we are going to write a script, which will read input from the keyboard. Then we attach the script with the main camera. Begin by creating an empty script. Select assets, create C# script, and rename this script to move on. Move on in the project panel like this. Double click on the move on script and it will be open with us. Start and update the function already inserted. That is default behavior. We are going to insert our code inside this function. Any code you insert inside the update function will be executed every frame. In order to move a game object in Unity, we needed to alter the position property of its transform. The translate function belonging to the transform will let us do this. The translate function takes three parameters, x, y, and z movement, as we want to control the main camera game object with the cursor keys. We simply attach code to determine if the cursor keys are being pressed for the respective parameters. So inside the object function, the code is transform dot translate and input dot get axis horizontal no 0 9 input get axis vertical and semicolon. The input dot get axis function returns a value between the minus L and 1, minus 1 and 1. On the horizontal axis, the left cursor key maps to minus O, minus 1, and the right cursor key maps to 1. The general parameter for the y-axis is we are not interested in moving the camera upwards. The horizontal and vertical axes are predefined in the input settings. The names and key map to them can be easily changed in edit, project settings, input. Let's save This is script file, and say return to Unity editor. Now that our first script is written, how do we tell Unity with game objects should have this behavior? All we have to do this is to attach the script to the game object, which we want to exhibit this behavior. To do this, the first click on the game object you wish to have the behavior as defined in the script. In our case, this is the main camera, and you can select it from either the hierarchy view or the scene view. So main camera, and add a component and script, and select move on from the main menu. This attaches the script to the camera. You should notice that the move on component now appears in the inspector view for the main camera. Also, you can also assign a script on the game object by dragging the script from the project view onto the object in the scene view, like this, and select cube on. We can see the move on the script on the cube of game's. Now we don't need this script cube game object. And run the game plus play icon in the middle. You should be able to move the main camera with the cursor keys. W, S, A, D, or cursor keys. But you probably noticed that the camera moved a little too fast. Let's look at a better way to control the camera speed. As the previous code was inside the update function, the camera was moving at a velocity measured in meters per frame. It is better, however, to ensure that your game object move at a more predictable rate of meters per second. To achieve this, we multiply the value returned from the input .getAxis function by time dot delta time, and also by the velocity we want to move per second. 여기 double click to move on script. Insert the code. Public float. Speed equal 5.0 x semicolon. Here the variable speed is declared outside the function of date. This is called an exposed variable, as this variable will appear in the inspector view for whatever game object the script is attached to. The variable gets exposed to the Unity GUI. Exposing variables are useful when the value needs to be tweaked to get the desired effect. This is much easier than changing code. Now we will change the code like this. Flow as usual equal input the cat axis horizontal multiply speed and multiply time some time dot delta time and then float or equal axis particle and multiply speed and the speed multiply time dot delta time and transform dot translate to whole command 0 command per semicolon and save this code and return to Unity editor. Select main camera and we can see the speed video like this. Connecting variables via the GUI is a very powerful feature of Unity. It allows variables with normally be assigned in code to be done by a drag and drop in the Unity GUI. This allows for quick and easy prototyping of ideas. As connecting variable is done via the Unity GUI, we know we always need to expose a variable in our script code so that we can assign the parameter in the inspector view. We will demonstrate this connected variables concept by creating a spotlight which will follow the player around as they move. The spotlight to the scene view move with maybe if necessary, so it's close to observe other game object. Or you change the color by to red and change it in intensity 1, 2, 5 like this. Move the main camera. And we will create a new C# script and rename it follow. That's it. So that's it. Create C# script and rename it follow. Let's think of what we want to do. We want our news spotlight to like look at wherever the main camera is. As it happens, there is a built-in function in Unity to do this. Transform dot look at. If you are beginning to think, how do I do this? And or already imagining a lot of code, then it's worth remembering to always check the Unity API for a function that already exists. We could also make a good guess at looking in the transform section of the API, as we are interested in altering the position or rotation of a game object. Now we come to the connecting variable section, what we use as a parameter for looking. Well, we could hard code a game object. However, we know we want to assign the variable via the GUI. So we will just use an exposed variable of a type transform. Our follow.cs script should look like this. Public transform the variable in time target, and insert the code inside the update method, transform dot look at target, and save this script and return to Unity editor. Attach the script to the spotlight and this when the component gets added, the target variable is exposed. With the spotlight is still selected, drag the main camera from the hierarchy view onto the target variable in the inspector view, like this. This assigns the target variable. The spotlight will follow the main camera. If we wanted the spotlight to follow a different game object, we could just drag in a different object, as long as it was of type transformable, of course. I play the game. If we watch the save scene view, you should see the spotlight following the main camera around. You may want to change the position of the spotlight to improve the effect. Play the game. If you watch the scene view, you should see the spotlight following the main camera around. You may want to change the position of the spotlight to improve the effect. Excellent. Local break. You deserve in the next video. We will cover the accessing components. I hope to see you then.